that sears through the sky and tears the night to pieces. Then I'll drink up the tears of the stars.
So King of the House animation musical, which is kind of funny, and of course has a twist ending to it where everything's kind of in the perception of through the eyes of this king, so to speak. And of course we understand who he is in the end, but it's kind of really kind of cool animation, some cool original music. Anybody want to make a comment about this film?
I really liked kind of like the geometry and the shapes in it. Like his silhouette was very like triangular, and there were a lot of like textures to it that I thought was a really nice touch that you don't see a ton in animation. And I really liked kind of how the metamorphosis of his delusion to the reality was kind of played out with like the sword and the fork and the couch and like the bags of trash. I thought it was really well done.
It's the world that he sees through his, you assume, with his mental illness, right? So, like that's the perception that he's seeing.
I like that it was sort of like the anti-Disney song a little bit. In the beginning, it felt like it was going to be some like musical like Disney song. I mean, like Disney villain, but then obviously took a really big turn towards the beginning. But also like really like the animation as well. They didn't stay on one frame for too long. They'd always change frames a lot. And then within each frame, there's always so much going on. It really reminded me a lot of this animated film from the 70s, like The Thief and the Cobbler, where it was a really trippy film. There was like a lot of like manipulation going on with like the scenery and how you thought a scene played out, but it sounded to be different. So it looks sort of I like how it played on that inspiration a lot.
Yes, the animation is absolutely stunning, especially when the doors at each knock would look different. I thought that was a really cool effect. I feel like this theme has been touched on before. It seems kind of familiar. I think there was a story about how there's a woman who had a sickness and then a man went to visit her and then he bought into her illusions and sickness. So I think, trying to translate what that might mean, for me, I feel like toxic people might attract each other and they might stay together, and the scene that kind of hits it on the head for me is at the end where the crown falls off, but then the servant picks it up, and so he's going to be king of the house and make the original king of the house the servant, and so that kind of interesting relationship there. And then even at the end, the crown came and knocked towards us, and so kind of inviting us to see if we're going to join into that toxic relationship as well.
Chime in on what you were saying, how he was delusional. Every time he had to keep, what's the word I'm looking for? Keep confirming to himself, I guess, that he is the king. Like when we first saw in the beginning, he kind of, what I took from it, he kind of was like a part of the world. It wasn't really a distinct difference between him and everyone else, but he created this delusion for himself so he can be more comfortable with himself, even though society, or I guess what he thinks, or society thinks that, he's not wanted, or that he doesn't feel wanted, I guess.
I thought it was like some kind of metaphor on leadership, and that we kind of have to participate in the delusion of the leader, especially bad ones, and we kind of can take the power back when we expose them to the light, so to speak.
This movie is about a very sick man. He is a very narcissist, and he has very low self-esteem because in the real world he's a very low-ranking. Nobody cares about him, but he believes that he's like the top of the top, and because of that, he's looking for like his follower to support him. So I would say he's very coward and doesn't have that much confidence in himself, but at the end he wants to manipulate others so that he wants to be the king. So the follower says like, I have nowhere else to stay, so I would like to serve for you. So at that case I realized that like two of them, they'll stand out like financially, they don't have significant accomplishment to stand out in society. So like when actually watching this movie, I was thinking about like a lot of like people who have excluded from like major highlights in the society. So this movie reflects the minors, or like those who don't really receive a lot of attention from the society, but there could be some other people like that, were more sick people like that. So it was a very good representation of like reflecting sick people that are covered from the highlights.
I like the animated film. I actually empathize with the character. I like how they played up to this whole thing about ego, and this person who came into his life kind of like took him down a few notches and made him realize like the reality of what it is that he faces on a day-to-day basis. So I really like that aspect of it, because I think that we all have a perception of how we view ourselves, and then something comes along to give us a reality check.
Just 2 words about this film. Stay humble.
All right, cool. That's a good way to end it. Okay, so we'll go to the last film. Sorry, the next film.